Hey, what's up? We're the Backups. I'm Timbo B. Davis, and he is
Connor B. Fickley.
and we coach football. I think a big part of this episode came from we were actually looking at the Sarkisian offense at Alabama and what he's done. It's cool because he's embraced all these RPOs and new school way of looking at things that was refreshing, especially to see a guy who'd been in college and NFL and bounced around.
Yeah, all over the place. Yeah, just being successful. And like you said, all those new ideas and those wrinkles and those things we hadn't seen before, and he's been able to bring to the table. And it's just been really cool to get him see him lead those offenses
and bring to the table at a place like Alabama, like the best
Absolutely.
place. I think that's kind of, you see these things in like mid majors. You see these things in teams that are trying to find the best possible practices to beat in Alabama. And now you see in Alabama doing it. And that's pretty cool. Obviously that led to a chance to get hired on at Texas and reboot that program, get them going more Texas more hook 'em than they've been over the last few years. But really the Sarkisian story to me is such an amazing redemptive story because his career could have been over a few years ago.
Yeah, and exactly like I was saying, like there's a lot of these new offensive nuances and wrinkles and things that we're all excited to talk about these last couple of years, and it's crazy to think that this man was in a position to where he might not have been able to share all these awesome things with us, and so it's really, really cool to kind of, like I said, hear his story, learn about the things he was able to get through, and get himself back in the coaching world, and not only for his own sake, but for all of ours as well.
And so dovetailing off that, we had an opportunity to sit down with an assistant coach who is near and dear to our hearts. Full disclosure, he's on our staff. His name is Brian Mercereau, and he's a guy who was a coach and had to step away from the game to get his life, to start his process of redemption, to really start taking those steps towards recovery in very similar ways of Sarkisian. And so what an awesome opportunity to talk shop with Brian, not only about football, but really about life.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And like I said, we got a chance to sit down and have a conversation with him, and he was very open and honest about everything. And it was looking forward to it.
As you're going to listen, you're going to hear about his road of recovery and redemption. But you're going to hear about some of how he got into it too. And I think some of the things that stick out in my mind was how easy the trap of falling into just that every night of drinking, and then it gets to the point where it gets out of control. That's a really subtle thing that can start in the coaching world with clinics and the beer gardens, and you go out after games or whatever you have going on. And I think it's something that is subtly a very, very easy thing to fall into.
Exactly. I was just going to say it's something that can easily start off as one or two drinks a week, especially during football season. Things starting to get intense. Things start adding up quickly, and yeah.
So we're going to run that interview. Really, really special. We're very thankful for Brian coming on the show, being open and authentic and honest about his struggles and the road of redemption that he continues to walk on.
It all started around Sarkisian, man. Just like from his, you guys probably read it, like from his trajectory down to his downfall. And then so that's where it all started. And then I just started spinning. I'm like, man, this is almost eerily kind of, not that we had similar trajectories, but we both had the same battles. And I was like, dang, I'm a huge fan just because A, he's a great offensive mind. He's a great football coach. B, I can kind of relate to him and what he's going through. You can read all the stuff online. It's out there. He actually went to rehab just based on watching SVP one night. Scott Van Pelt was doing one of his one big things on CC Sabathia, which ironically, there's a piece that came out about him today.
Yeah, I just saw that. We were talking about that before you started. Yeah.
So, it's really cool to kind of like see all these guys, CC Sabathia at the time was he was the ace of the staff. And right before the Yankees playoff run, he says, I got to give it up. Sark does his thing. He runs up a huge tab on a recruiting trip to the athletic department at UW. But it's cool to see these guys kind of go through the valleys of hell, and then now they're just going to the top again. It's really cool. And my experience, I'll just dive into that, was 2015, which kind of similar to Sark, I was never a guy who drank to get drunk. I was probably a guy who was a social person at a bar, let's have a couple drinks, normal. But then it kind of spun out of control. I remember just after work going to get drinks, after practice, after games, you have your little, there's the whole deep breath of what the week has transpired football wise, but then you dive deeper into like, you just want to have that hangout social aspect of it as well. And it just all started to like mount up. I mean, I have a daughter at that time that was a year old. My wife is basically doing everything she can, hey, are you going to be home at this time? Hey, you're going to be home. So I was kind of, like just not being accountable. Kind of around that same time, my grandfather, who another one of my big role models, he was battling dementia, and it kind of put me in a really bad space. And it wasn't kind of all at once. It just happened. And I just remember like, damn, I'm going to lose my grandfather. I'd just be like, oh, one more beer for Gerald Seifert. Maybe I used that as an excuse for my behavior. And it got to the point, my dark days, as they call it, they'll ask you like, man, what was your darkest day? My darkest day was waking up on a buddy's couch, watching the Cubs. And I think at the time they might've been playing the Dodgers, maybe in one of the beginning parts. And I was just sitting down. I was watching the game. Nobody's home. So I was at his house. So I'm just pouring a couple of cocktails. And man, I just remember waking up. I had taken a nap, and there's 5 people in that house. Look up, and I'm like, oh man. One of them was Coach Esparza. One of them at the time was my boss, Rochelle Edelin, and a few other people. But they told me, here's the deal. You're done drinking and you need help. And, at first you don't want to ever hear that, right? You're like, no, I'm fine. I'm fine. Well, you're not fine. You're in a bad place. First of all, you're going to lose your family, maybe. Second of all, damn well you need help because you have had those conversations with yourself. So, yeah. Then a couple days later, this is October of 15. A couple days later, I'm on a plane, leaving Alaska. Don't know what's going on football-wise. Don't even care. I just know that I need to get help. Go to Ohio. That's where I'm from. Mom and aunt greet me at the airport. They picked me up, drive back to Toledo, and spend some time with my grandmother. And then I ended up going to Columbus, where one of the biggest mentors of my life, my uncle, that's where he lived. And so when I tell you I got my ass kicked verbally for 2.5 hours from Toledo to Columbus, oh my God, up and down, just anything you can imagine. But not to demean me, but just like, what are you doing? Kind of giving like a pseudo pep talk, but like also beating me to the point where I needed to hear it. So we get to Columbus. And then I have a week or so where I'm just trying to do some thinking, and then essentially I ended up going to a rehabilitation center called the Ridge. So I entered the Ridge on the 31st of October 15 and left Black Friday 15. And yeah, and I haven't looked back since. So it was necessary. I wouldn't have changed it for the world. I mean, it basically saved my family. And yeah, 5 years now, 5 years. So pretty cool.
That dude, I'm so freaking proud of you, man. That's
yeah.
And I think your story is identifiable because it doesn't start with like chugging cases of beer. It's like,
no,
it's something that's in coach culture. You go to the clinic and there's a beer garden at a clinic. You go after the game, you know,
but there's a lot of us there's a lot of that culture, which is fine. And I, you know, to this day, people, I think I even remember like the first time I was on staff at West and we were at the farm, and I was that was the first time I was nervous, not for what was going to happen, but because a lot of folks that I am sociable with know that Brian likes to have a good time. He's never said no to a beer. So I just remember kind of sitting around, and, you know, the waitress comes over, takes more. I was just like, no, I'll just have water. And I don't think it clicked yet. But then, you know, another coach was like, man, you don't drink? I said, no, not anymore. And it was just, and that was that. Yeah. But after I think I had gotten that out, it kind of was like a big thing off of my shoulder. Like the monkey was off. Like, okay, now I can relax. Now I can have a good time. And, you know, I mean, I'm going to I want to go into 2016 now. Out of football, just sitting at home, you know, and kind of lost, right? Because that was the first year that the normalcy of me was kind of out. It was, wow, I'm not coaching. I'm not going to camps. I'm not going to be around the weight room. And it was tough. It was really tough. But as the year kind of went on, it kind of got a little better. And I even think I saw you. So this is after the season, 2016. Happened to be, I think it was Christmas time, and I'm in Nordstrom, and I see you, Coach Davis, and your wife, and I think your daughter was probably really small at that time, or
she was like 2 months old then.
Yeah. So I just remember, I'm like, man, I really want to coach. Nah, I'm just going to let it go. And I think I've maybe mentioned this to you too. And we just said, hey, great to see you. Merry Christmas. Went on about it. And I was like, damn, no, that wasn't the right time. It wasn't the right time. So Christmas goes by, New Year's goes by. And I think at that time, Coach Dunn had passed away. Yeah. And I remember we were close at Bartlett, and it kind of wore on me. I was like, for some reason, I was just like, I need to call Coach Dunn. And then I called him. I left a voicemail. And then like 2 or 3 days later, I found out he's no longer with us. So the memorial happens. Great turnout. Great conversations about Coach Dunn. Once again, kind of like, back to normal life. It was good to see people that I hadn't seen. And I think it was, now we're in April 17th. I remember this like it's yesterday. Driving down Minnesota, I'm taking Avery, which is my oldest daughter. At the time, she was going to Anchorage Montessori School, which is just off International. And I get this text from JJ Iverson. And it says, hey, when you get a chance, call me. And he's like, hey, you interested in coaching? And I don't think I said anything for like 5 minutes, because the Catholic in me prior to that phone call prayed every single night, one more chance, one more chance. I am sorry. I had made amends with my wife. I'd made amends with people that I hurt doing what I was doing. I'd gone and talked to a kind of a weird kind of shaman type guy. That's all I can say. His nickname, I think, was Mufasa. I was given his name, and I went and saw him pretty religiously for like once a week for up until that time. He would always just say to me, if it's meant to be, it's meant to be. And I just said, man, but I just want it to be now, you know? And it happened. And I mean, it was just like, man, yeah, I didn't even talk to Mariah yet. So I'm in, obviously, as a coach and somebody who loves the game of football, mentoring kids, and wanted to just right a wrong. I prayed every single night that just give me one more chance. And I mean, for the first time in a long time, I was like, damn, it happened. I kind of thank God every day that, like, you know, you guys are in my life. I mean, Beckley, you know, I mean, we always kid around about that you threw the best pass to me at Colony Camp, but I mean, it's great to be around you and pick your brain. And I mean, for me, it's just about being around positive people. You know, we talk about a bubble now, you know, who's in your bubble? Well, my bubble consists of my family, my coaching family, and that's about it. You know, I mean, I put a lot of faith and a lot of belief in the people that are in my bubble, that I could call them up anytime if something's going wrong and they'll get me right. Or if the vice versa, if something's not right for them, I'm going to be there for them.
First of all, I mean, thank you for sharing everything and for being honest with us and open and everything. And I was just going to say, you know, going off of like, you know, getting a chance to throw with you at Colony Camp and being around you since you've been a part of West and in my time back. I was gonna say, you've always just been the most fun, loving, energetic, like wild.
Yeah.
Guys are always having fun. I mean, to be honest with you, like I had no idea. I mean, the type of person, you know, who I know, the Brian I know, man.
Sure.
Working with.
Yeah.
Kids,
I mean, honestly, there is a small amount. I'm fun. I have a great, you know, I love to have a good time. I do. That's my personality. I love to make people smile. There's not a lot of people that know my past. I mean, a lot of people know I don't drink, right? But I just want people to know, you know, if you're going through something, whether it be whatever addiction it is, there's people out there. Just reach out. It sucks because you got to humble yourself that first time. You have got to look deep into your heart and your soul and be like, this ain't right. This ain't right. I'm just not being accountable to my family, my friends, my work. And it will suck. It's not easy. But the first thing you have to do is just say, you know what, Connor, I need help. Give me help. Coach Davis, here's what's going on. We all battle something. But when you come out of that fog and you're like, holy you know what? It's surreal. And, you know, you have people in your corner that are rooting for you, pulling for you. But like I said, it's hard work, man. You got to put the work in. It's an everyday thing. You know, like Sark says, it's every day. It's not going away. I was facing the biggest fourth down of my life, you know, the biggest response. We talk about response in our program, one of our core values. It was 4th and goal, and I was at the -1 yard line. I had to convert. I did. And so happy for it. I'm blessed to be around our kids at West. I'm blessed to be coaching with you, Connor, Coach Davis, you know, Coach Navarro and Coach Garcia, Kimmett, Wrestler, Davis, Coach Ricky, Raji, Fleming. I mean, all those guys have played a part, you know, Coach Ando, and, you know, there's other guys, but like I take a lot of things and I compartmentalize them so I can reflect back on them sometimes. And like the experiences I have at West all have helped me, you know, I mean, whether it be in the weight room or in the summertime, it's all helped me through what I go through on a day-to-day life.
The brotherhood that is football is something special.
100%.
That what I want to know from you a little bit. Let's say you're a coach now. You're an assistant, along with Brian Mercereau in 2015.
Yeah.
For all the coaches out there listening, what are you're trying to help 2015?
I'm trying to help young Brian Mercereau.
Yeah.
First of all, I pull him aside and say, look, hey, I know you like to have a good time, but your time is about to run out. You need to get help. Or when you want to have tough conversations with people, don't avoid them. Looking back on that dude, man, he wasn't a bad guy. He just wasn't accountable to who he should have been accountable to. I'll just say that. The accountability wasn't there, whether that be with my family, my, you know, the former coaches that I coach with, the players. I let them down. And that's one part where that still stings, you know, that still stings. You weren't a good mentor. You weren't living up to the standard that you were trying to set for yourself. You know, I mean, you just were in a bad spot and you should ask for help. So that's what I would tell 2015 Brian Mercereau. 2015 Brian Mercereau probably would have said something to 2021 Brian Mercereau, and who knows what happens after that.
Here's what I want. I would love it if other coaches out there that are struggling with the same thing. What's like the mental day-to-day of that? I mean, what does that look like? How can we help people going through that?
The mental part of that is, you know, you just gotta take one day at a time. You gotta have a routine. Routine is probably very crucial. But the first and foremost is you gotta surround yourself with others that know about you and how they can help your recovery. Because what you don't want to do is go down the wrong path and repeat the whole process over and over and over and over. I'm gonna take what I need to do here and use that for tomorrow. I'm gonna take what I learned today for tomorrow, and then I'm just gonna stack days. One day, get through one day, then do the same thing the second day. And whatever the third day comes along, do whatever you did the second day or the fourth. Change it up. But by the time you reach 30 days, you're like, dang, that wasn't that bad. Feel good. Mind's clear. Body's clear. Body's starting to, you know, look okay. But then it gets easier. You know, the redemptive part of that is when you are able to just look back on who you were and what you are now. It's awesome, you know. And with Sark, all he needed was somebody to reach out to him, Saban, right? Saban reaches out to him and comes in, and he's an offensive analyst. And then Kiffin goes and takes his job. And then he's brought down to call plays in the national championship game against Clemson. What? But nonetheless, you know, I mean, his journey though it's awesome, and I'm sure he was comfortable. I'm sure he wanted to become a head coach again, and there were rumblings that he was the coach in waiting. But how can you turn down Texas? You just can't. But all he needed for him to have that redemptive process was Saban. Reach out, be the guy. Hey, come on over here. Show you how we do it in Bama, but you're going to hold yourself accountable as well. I was just trying to be ready, whatever that was, like for a phone call, for a text, an email, whatever the case may be. I just wanted to keep my mind right because I wanted a second chance. Wherever you go, whatever hell you may be in, there's a way out. You just have to battle each and every day. Surround yourself with good people. Pray if that's your thing, or just put good things into the world. Karma. I'm a huge karma guy. If you do good, good will get returned to you. But that phone call or text message by Mr. Iverson will forever be etched in my memory. And having conversations with you as well. So, yeah, cool.
No, and that's awesome. I was going to say that I kind of got a double question for you, kind of leading off what you were saying, going over to a new place, kind of getting that second chance like you were talking about. In that moment, like how important is it to you, everything, you're battling with your own issues and getting over that hump. And like you said, that kind of that bad taste in your mouth, the way you left football before.
Yeah.
How important was it for you moving forward then to kind of open with Davis and have those conversations and really, let out what you needed to?
Oh, it was huge. It was huge because I remember it's kind of like you go from one place to another, and it's kind of like the first day of school all over again, right? Yeah. I remember going to Coach Davis's family's house where, the preseason meeting was, and I'm just nervous as hell, right? I don't know I know 3 people. Iverson at the time when he was still on staff with us, Garcia and Coach Davis. I don't know anybody else. So I'm just looking to be me, just be humble. Hey, I'm Coach so-and-so. Nice to meet you. I just wanted to build relationships, connect. I was nervous because I'd never been around all the other dudes. But I just wanted to establish a relationship with all of them somehow. Once the season hit, we're in it. And you have to develop a level of trust with them too. That's the big thing is, you establish a connection and trust starts to build, and then they know who you are. And
that was my next question. That the follow-up was once you kind of get to be a part of these new guys and you're starting to get a chance to maybe go out with them and do those things. Like what I was going to ask, what advice would you give to, you said, to kind of hold off or, not be tempted to have a drink, like you said, when you're out there with,
you realize that, oh, we got you. We know your story. And I think Coach Kimmett was, he was one of the big ones. Coach Kimmett and Coach Ricky at the time, we started getting pretty close. Me and Coach Ricky, my first year at West, we coached JV together. And so we had to develop a coaching relationship somehow, right? I don't know your style. You don't know mine, but here's where we are. But we got close. And then me and Coach Kimmett, we started coaching defensive backs, and we would get together and we would do a lunch over at O'Brady's over here. And our relationship kind of just bonded together, and it was pretty cool. But I think a lot of coaches knew after that, it might have been in August or something, that, I don't drink. And they're all supportive. Nobody's ever been like, hey, here's your cocktail. No one's ever done that to me. And I don't think they would know that, like, I'm not going to have it, right? I'm not sublime to the fact that you guys have a good time. And that's awesome. I embrace that. And that's not to, I'm not going to get offended. And I think that was the big thing, is like, how do we act around Merce when Merce is doing, his water, it's easy, Coach Feckley. I think after your level of trust and they see who you are, you interject with them on a daily basis, and people start to ask some questions and you answer them truthfully, and they're like, oh, cool. I mean, I still like to have a good time.
Yeah. I know you do.
I alcohol with it.
Yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I see summertime, you're cutting the lawn. Tell me, I mean, is that not the best time to have a beer?
Good point. Right.
When those mountains are blue. But those are in the past, I'll just come in and look in the fridge and have a Kloss Toller. That's a good beer. Non-alcoholic beer.
Yeah, I was going to say.
And then there's, or a water or a Coke. I don't know.
Yeah.
Whatever the case may be.
To be totally honest, your story is inspirational to me. I know you talk about we welcomed you in and you feel as if you benefited from it. I can't tell you, even it's so flipped. In my opinion, I mean, we really benefit from your energy, from your love for the kids and you being the best version of yourself every day. It's helped me personally. It's helped guys on this staff. And I'm very thankful for you, man. And so,
I appreciate it.
I'm looking forward to actually coaching some ball here.
Yeah. If I could finish on this. So
yeah,
we're at your house or your family's house. God, that seems forever ago. And you had brought up the Focus 3 podcast. So I just went ahead and I was like, man, if I gotta I'm a West Eagle. I got to fit in. So I'm going to listen to Focus 3. Tim and Brian Kite. Wow. So they also helped me along the way subliminally, because I don't think I've missed a podcast from the back ups or from the Focus 3 dudes. Now that, Brian's kind of doing his own thing, but man, I remember listening early on, and it was the meaning of life.
Mm-hmm.
That one stuck with me. Where I don't want to dive too deep into it, or maybe you can tell your viewers about it. But Nazi Holocaust, it was a gruesome excerpt of a book he was reading, and I think I was hooked from there on, and I just started like, man, this could be my way this could help me. And it helped me become a better coach, a mentor, a husband, a father, but I was just hooked. And to this day, it's just like, I want more Focus 3. I want more Coach Davis pep talks. Let's go. And so the energy that I got came from probably that podcast. And it rejuvenated my energy. Like, oh yeah, I'm bought in. I mean, hook, line, and sinker. Don't even care who knows. That podcast is, I recommend it to everybody. My wife, my family, my other family in Ohio and relatives outside of Ohio, and coworkers and hell, people I don't even know that I check in at the hotel where I work at.
The Focus 3 thing is legit. It's
100%.
I totally agree with you. I think that they've tapped into some logic and some helpful logic at that. So we'll wrap it up. But much love, my brother.
Much love, man. Hey, thanks for having me on. If somebody's going through something that's listening, just there's always tomorrow, or if not, reach out, call somebody right now, because don't repeat the things you're doing. Just know that there's help out there. There's dudes that will listen to you. Just make a call, send a text, tweet. I don't know, send a fleet, add it to your story. There's help somehow.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So guys, awesome to be on, man. Thank you. It's a long time coming. I haven't really sat down and discussed this verbatim too much, and it was really cool. I'm happy to be on this episode with you guys.
Yeah, dude, super amazing. It's powerful to hear Coach go tell us his story. The thing that stuck out in my mind the most was the power of the coaching fraternity. And just like anything in life that's powerful, it's got a tremendous power for healing and personal growth. It's got tremendous power to go the other way too. And I think a healthy coaching staff is one that holds each other accountable in these times when people are challenged with different things. And I couldn't be happier to have Brian on staff as an accountability partner, as someone that he's a brother. And I think like this episode really, there's a lot of reasons why you can see why that is.
Biggest takeaway I had from it was the fact that these type of situations and these things do not define you. Going into it, I mean, I've known Brian for a couple of years now, and I was never aware of any of it. I mean, it was all, I would have never thought, that type of person, the Brian that I knew, would ever had a situation, a struggle and a battle like the one that he had overcome and had to go through. Like you were saying, he's always the energy guy, keeping everybody accountable, always having a good time. So it was really cool to see, to meet him and know him, and then to hear this story and to see how much he's overcome and just to see the type of person he is now. He just would have never had any idea. And I wouldn't, obviously can't hold anything like that against a guy who's able to overcome and move on and get his life back on track and get back out there. So thank you, Brian. And that was awesome.
So, another thing on this topic is, the issue of not just how it can derail a career, how it can derail your opportunity to work with kids. Because let's be real, football at our level is an educational pursuit, and you have to be healthy to be qualified to work with kids. We fully trust Brian is healthy at this moment, and as he walks along, then we're aware of and he's open, he's an open book, and he's willing to talk to anybody. And I think kids do need to hear that message. I will say this, that there's a lot of easy traps. One of those is getting behind a wheel of a car after a game. After you go out, maybe it's the weekend, you're blowing off steam. Maybe it's at clinic season. Clinic season's a huge deal. It's in the news now as we're seeing come out of the Super Bowl, the Chiefs staff there. And I don't know, man, you cannot get behind a wheel of a car when you've been drinking. And that's not an alcoholic thing. That's just a decision in the moment that anybody can fall into.
It just comes along the same thing. It's just that easy. Like you said, it starts off just being one or two drinks, until it becomes more. And hey, it only takes one or two drinks, and then you get pulled over and you no longer have a job. You gotta have the trust built into your staff that you can have the accountability to tell that coach, hey, this is not the time for that. So, I think like getting behind the wheel, you could be a legend in your town. You could be a rookie coach. You can still kill somebody or yourself. You can still ruin a human life. You can still get a DUI. Nobody can be hurt, but that could end your career. That could end your job. That could put you in a really bad place. So I think having the tough conversation that maybe football podcasts don't have enough of, drinking and driving is a very real thing that people do. And as football coaches, leaders in the community, and educators, it can't be part of our game. Yeah, and like I said, we're not here to change the entire landscape of everything. We're just a couple of football coaches in Alaska making a podcast, and we know a lot of real dudes who in real situations, and we know it's a lot more common than not. And if we can just help get in the ear of one coach, one time, and help do something like Brian alluded to earlier in the interview, then hey, we're doing our job. So think about your kids, think about yourself, think about your families. We appreciate you guys. Thank you for listening.
If you or a loved one is in need right now, check out the SAMHSA National Helpline at 1-800-662-HELP. That's 1-800-662-4357. Or check them out online at www.samhsa.org.